If you've ever tried to explain what you do at an agency and someone goes, "Are you a project manager? Are you in sales? Are you customer service?" Yeah, welcome to being a client account manager. It is one of the most misunderstood roles in the agency life. And honestly, even the people doing the job don't always have a clean way to describe it, which can be a problem because if you can't articulate what you do, it's really hard to grow into it and get paid for it and get hired into the next one. So today, that's what we're fixing. I'm going to walk you through exactly what a client account manager is, or a CAM as we call it, what it actually is and what we actually do all day, and why this role matters more in 2026 than it ever has.
Welcome to the Happy Clients Podcast, brought to you by Dot & Company. Whether you're a virtual assistant, an agency owner, or a client-facing account manager, we all deal with clients. Lucky for you, client management is what we do best. Now, let's dig in, chat CAM life, and have some fun along the way. Cheers to happy clients.
E2M is a proud sponsor of the Happy Clients Podcast. If you're running a digital agency, you know the hardest part isn't getting clients. It's delivering consistently without burning out your team or hurting margins. E2M helps agencies scale confidently as a behind-the-scenes, white-label fulfillment partner. From web development and SEO to paid media, US-based content, e-commerce, and even AI, they plug into your agency so your clients get great results under your brand. No freelancers, no chaos, just reliable delivery that helps you keep clients happy and growing. Find out how E2M can support your agency at e2msolutions.com/dot. Hey, welcome back to the Happy Clients Podcast. If we haven't met at Dot & Company, we live and breathe client account management for digital marketing agencies. It's the entire thing we do, and we have trained a lot of client account managers. We have placed a lot of client account managers and watched tons of people evolve in this role, especially over the last few years. And the conversations that I have most often go one of two ways. Either it's an account manager going, "I love this work, but I don't even know how to put it onto my resume." Or it's someone newer saying, "I just got given this title. What does that even mean?" So this episode is for you. Whether you've been doing this for years and you want a sharper way to describe your own value, or you just stepped into the role and you're trying to figure out what game you're even playing, I've got you. So we're going to cover what a client account manager is, what we're actually responsible for day to day, and what we're not responsible for, and what this role looks like, especially in 2026 with AI in the mix, with so many agencies running hybrid or fully remote. So let's get into this episode. Okay, let's start at the top. What is a client account manager? Here's the cleanest way I've ever heard it described, and this is the line that I want you to steal. A client account manager is the bridge between the agency and the client. That's it. That's the whole job. You are the person standing in the middle with the client on one side and the internal team, such as designers, strategists, developers, writers, paid media team, whoever, on the other side. And your job as the client account manager is to make sure that bridge holds. Information is flowing both ways and expectations stay aligned through that process, and making sure nobody falls in the river. Now that sounds really simple, but it's actually the hardest part of agency work, in my opinion, because both sides are speaking these totally different languages. And, clients are speaking in their business goals, things like leads, revenue, brand, growth. And then on the internal side, the specialists are talking deliverables, campaigns, mock-ups, sprints, KPIs. And you, the client account manager, are the translator. And once you frame this role in this way, I think this really clears up a lot of the confusion, because are you a project manager? Kind of. But project management is, yes, it's what we're doing, but it can be a tool, and it's not the whole role. And people might ask, are you in sales? Well, no, but you do protect and grow the relationship and a lot of that revenue, which can be adjacent to sales. Or people might ask, are you in customer service? Well, customer service feels more reactive and the client account management is more proactive. So You are that relationship owner and everything is flowing from that. Okay, so what does that bridge job actually look like in practice? So I have done this job for a very long time, but let me give you kind of that real breakdown of what a client account manager is genuinely doing on a Tuesday. So the first big bucket is client communication, things like emails, status updates, weekly check-in calls, recap notes, kickoffs, the occasional fire drill, and we are the primary point of contact. So I want all my clients to come to me for everything. When they have a question, when they have a worry, when they have feedback, a new idea at 11 on a Saturday night, I want them coming to me. And I don't want them going to my designers. I don't want them going to the CEO or the founder of this agency, especially. I want them coming to me. The second bucket of what we do is a lot of this internal coordination. So we are the ones who are making sure that the work actually gets done on time and to the right standard. And that means briefing my specialists very clearly, checking on progress, unblocking people, and escalating risks before they even become problems, because we all know that happens, and making sure that deliverables get to the client in a polished way and not raw. No sloppy projects going to clients. We want to make sure they are just perfectly polished. And the third bucket is that strategy and account health. And this is a bucket that really separates a junior client account manager from an excellent client account manager. So you might be thinking, is this account performing? Is the client happy? Are we delivering value that justifies what they're paying us? Where could we be doing more? And where are the warning signs of churn? Great client account managers that I see are constantly running this mental scoreboard for every account they touch on a daily basis. They're not just saying, we're shipping the work to the client. They're looking at, is this relationship actually healthy? And then the fourth and final bucket is, and this one might feel a little bit subtle, but it is huge in our role, is being the calm. Agency life is chaotic and things go wrong. Deadlines are moving. Clients are changing their minds. Specialists get overwhelmed. And the founder or the CEO is getting pulled in a million different directions. So you, the client account manager, are still, we want to be that still point within all this chaos. And when something blows up, your job is to not panic. Your job is to hold it together and communicate calmly and route the situation toward a solution. And this is a real skill. And honestly, it's one that clients are going to remember the most. So let's talk about what a client account manager is not. I think it's equally as important because if we don't know where the lines are, you're going to get buried under work that isn't actually your job. And this will take you away from doing a good job and getting promoted and wowing the agency owner or your direct report. I've watched this happen to a lot of account managers where they just get buried in a lot of different things and they're not able to do the excellent work of what the agency owner hired you for. So a client account manager is not a doer. And what do I mean by that? You are not the designer. You are not the strategist. You are not writing the copy or building the campaign or coding the site. If you're doing the work, you're wearing two hats and one of them is going to suffer. Probably the client account management hat, because doing the work has these hard deadlines and the relationship doesn't really have a hard deadline. So oftentimes we'll get distracted, or maybe sometimes we enjoy the work more and we end up focusing on things like that. So we need to make sure we're not doing the actual work. The second thing, you are not a salesperson. And now I know in some agencies you do help with things like upsells and renewals, and this is legit, but you're not closing new cold business. And that is a completely different role and a different skill set. And, I work with sales teams, I work with sales managers, and they are amazing. And I love working alongside of them and passing them, upsell opportunities or growth opportunities. But at the end of the day, closing cold leads is not something that I, as the client account manager, want to spend my time on. And number 3, a client account manager is not a punching bag. And I want to say this loud for the people in the back, because too many account managers absorb client frustration in a way that's not healthy. And you are representing the agency, you're holding the line, but you're not to be screamed at. You're not, someone that can just take all of the negative feedback or negative energy from your team. You are a professional, and so is your client. And the moment that a relationship stops being respectful, that's a conversation to have with the founder and not something to grit through. It's not something that you should just be taking the punches on. You need to make sure you have those conversations. Knowing what you are and are not responsible for is really important. And without these lines, you're going to burn out. And if you have these lines drawn very clearly, you're going to thrive in your role. So let's talk about what this role looks like in 2026. Things have shifted a lot in the last couple of years, especially this year. And the client account manager job today might look a little bit different, but I think it's even more important in 2026. AI is now a part of our toolkit, whether we like it or not. And honestly, this is great for us as client account managers because AI can handle the parts of the job that used to eat our day or suck our great energy when we start the day. Things like drafting status emails, summarizing call transcripts, pulling notes out of long Slack messages, generating first drafts of reports. Claude, ChatGPT, AI features that are built into things like Asana and ClickUp and Slack, these are tools that are going to save us so much time. But here's the thing nobody is talking about. AI is making the technical parts of this job easier, which means the human parts of this job, which is us, the relationship parts, the judgmental parts, the calm in a storm parts, those are where the value really lives, almost entirely. It used to be our whole job to write emails, and that would take a lot of our time. But now that we are no longer responsible for doing all the nitty-gritty things, we need to make sure that we are showing up in these relationships and really making sure that clients feel heard and supported. Shift number 2, most agencies are moving towards a either fully remote or hybrid model, which means that client account managers are even more important than they used to be because you're often the only person who has the full picture of what's going on in an account. The designer is in one time zone and the strategist is in another and the client is in, a third time zone, and you're that connective tissue holding the whole thing together from a remote standpoint. So practically, you are living in the tools like Slack and Loom and your project tool, and you're able to async communication. Async communication is no longer a nice to have skill. It's mandatory. We need to be writing clearly, recording short, watchable looms instead of scheduling another meeting. And we need to make sure that we're leaving really strategic conversations on projects. And really, the client account manager role is a craft, and you need to really own it as such. And here's the last shift that I'm seeing in 2026. And this is kind of the fun one, but clients expect more strategic input from us as client account managers than they used to. The role used to be much more of a coordinator role, and today, clients I'm seeing really want their account manager to have the full point of view, and they want you to push back on briefs that don't make sense for their business and their goals, and they want you to bring new ideas. They want you thinking about their business and not just shepherding tickets. And I'm sure you've seen this if you've been a client account manager for a while, but truly the bar is getting higher and higher, and it's way more interesting for us in our role. And it is why client account managers in 2026 are getting paid better and getting more career runway than they used to. The role is truly leveling up. Okay, here's the last part, and I really want you to hear this because this role really matters in the agency world. And if you're an account manager, you've probably had moments where you wonder, am I even adding value? The designer made this thing, the strategist made the plan, the developer built the site, but what did I do? Let me tell you what you did. You made it possible for that designer, that strategist, that developer to actually do their jobs. You shielded them from the noise. You translated the brief. You caught the misalignment 3 weeks ago that would have blown up the whole project. You kept the client calm when the client was about to get loud, and you held the relationship together so that the work could even happen. That is not invisible work. It just doesn't come with a deliverable you can point to. And that's why so many client account managers feel underappreciated, because the success metric of your job, things didn't go wrong, which is the hardest kind of work to celebrate. But here's what I want you to know. The agencies that are growing right now, the ones with happy clients and low churn and teams that are not burning out, Every single one of them has a great client account manager at the center. Not a founder doing client account management stuff, a real dedicated professional account manager. And that's you. That's the role. And be proud of that role. Learn how to talk about it like the high leverage role it actually is, because it is. Okay, quick recap and then I'll let you go. A client account manager is that bridge between the agency and the client, the translator, the relationship owner, and truly the calm in the agency chaos. You are communicating with clients, internal coordination, strategic account health, and being that presence when things get kind of crazy. What you're not a doer, you're not a closer, and you're not a punching bag. And in 2026, AI is handling the busy work you used to have to do, but now you get to have real strategic conversations with your clients. And if anyone asks you what you do for a living, you now have a way better answer than account management. You manage the relationship and you make work possible. That's the line. If this hit you, share it with another account manager. Honestly, send it to them. We don't get enough credit for what we're doing, and there's not really enough content specifically for us out here. So we're going to keep putting it out there for you. Let's normalize talking about our role like the real craft that it is. If you want more of this, please make sure to leave us a comment on our podcast or on YouTube and send us an email if you have any questions on what we do here at Dot. I can't wait to see you in the next episode. Thanks for tuning in.
Here's to happy clients.